I spent tens of thousands of dollars on an education that I barely use, because I spend all my free time playing Civ. Sadly, the one thing I was not taught about in school is sunk cost fallacy, so I spent hours of my time poring over data, trying to put these two interests together. And after a lot of hard work and statistical analysis, I have comprehensively proven what are the best and worst unique units in the entire Civilization franchise. So this has been bouncing around my head for a little while. I needed to know, is it generally the case that later era unique units are worse than early era ones? And then from there, I thought there could be confounding factors, like maybe later era unique units are more likely to be air and sea units, and maybe that's what's making them suck. A normal human being would just look at some tier list charts, try to eyeball it, but if you've watched this channel before, you would know that I have trouble finishing my sentences. Also, I'm stubborn and take things too far. Nothing short of linear regression would suffice, so I made a spreadsheet. This brings together every single unique unit in the franchise and a bunch of information about them. I did omit Civ 7, because we just don't have the data yet in terms of what units are good, but altogether we have 181 unique units, and therefore points of data. Let's look at the variables. What do you think? How could I break this down? What is something objective that we can assign to units from all 4 different games that could cause them to be bad or good? Well, I had a few ideas. First is the continent. Didn't expect this to be a real predictor of unique unit quality, but you never know. I assigned continents based on the capital of that civ, so Georgia, the Huns, the Ottomans, and the Russians are European for this analysis. And before you start getting all, well, technically with me, you should know that on paper, France's biggest land border is in South America, which means that I am technically Latino. Not really, so fuck technicalities, this is good enough. The next variable is the price. Is it more expensive or cheaper than the unit it replaces? Some Civ 6 units don't replace anything, so I had to make some judgment calls when assigning this variable. That being said, God knows my judgment is pretty damn good at letting us down. The next variable is class. So land units, sea units, air units, or other. That last category is units like the Fast Worker from Civ 4 or the Khan from Civ 5. Any unit that cannot attack or defend normally on its own, or one that replaces such a unit. So like the Huacha from Civ 3 can't defend, it is other, but the Huacha from Civ 6 is a land unit. Next is a variable for what era the unit is available in. This one is crucial, and we want it to be a continuous variable. I wasn't sure how to do this. The tech trees are totally different in different games. I considered at some point the X value for the position along the tech tree, but I realized exactly what I had to do. Now, this isn't the best way to do it, but crucially, it is the easiest way. We take the era system from Civ 4, and we just use that. You heard me right, we're gonna put Civ 4 on a pedestal. You can call us Metacritic. So, we have a unique unit. Whatever unit it replaces, what era is that unit available in Civ 4? And that's how we get the data for this variable. There are 6 eras in Civ 4, actually really 7. There's no unique unit associated with the final era in any of the games, but who knows, maybe in the expansion for Civ 7, they'll give a special giant death robot to Japan. Or maybe to Australia. They're up to something. One variable we will need, of course, is the quality of the unit. This will be our dependent variable, meaning we will see if these other variables are correlated with the quality of the unique unit. To measure quality, we will be using tier lists coming from experts of these single-player games. So for Civ 3, we will use my tier list. For Civ 4, Henrik's tier list. For Civ 5, we're going to use this forum post from Consentient, who gave a numerical rank to each of the unique units. And for Civ 6, we will be using Potato McWhiskey's unique unit tier list. You'd think that this would be a low bar to clear, but sadly, only one of these lists actually includes all of the unique units from the game. Henrik did not rank the naval units, and he just forgot about the Panzer. I did get clarification from him on these. Consentient was so mad at the Venetians for existing that he forgot to give their unique unit a grade. Potato McWhiskey tragically has perfected the time machine, but is only using it to hang out with my mom for some reason. And so in his 2020 video, he did not have rankings of units that have been released in the past few years as DLC. These scores were converted to a numeric scale, with F tier being 0, S tier being 6. We included a variable for what game the unique unit appeared in. And the final variable is a horse? Does this unit have a horse? Replace a unit that has a horse, or require horseback riding. And after a grueling day plugging all of this into a spreadsheet, we were ready to import these numbers into Stata, a software package for statistical analysis. And here is what I was able to find. Let's start with some observations about the dataset. You can see here a tabulation for price, class, and continent. Here we have an issue that although our sample size is reasonably big, there isn't a ton of variation in it. Most units are land units and cost the same as what they replace, so it might be difficult to find a statistically significant effect on tier list score. But let's start with some simple regressions. We can say that land units are better, and unique units from Europe are worse, and this effect is statistically significant. Some other results were not. For example, this one is interesting. If a unit costs fewer shields or hammers than what it replaces, it is expected to have a higher tier list placement. But if it costs more shields or hammers, it is also expected to have a higher tier list placement. It's the ones that cost the same that do worse. A lot of what's happening there is that the Civ 6 and 4 tier lists were very top-heavy, and the 3 and 5 lists were more bottom-heavy. I think that arrangement is pretty arbitrary. I don't think it helps compare units between games, but it does fuck up our results. Because, for example, Civ 6 has a lot of higher or lower priced units, and now the data is telling us units that cost more are better, when in reality, it's just that they come from Civ 6. So, control variables are key here. As soon as we control for whether or not this unit is from Civ 6, that effect pretty much disappears. Here is the model for our main research question. We wanted to avoid overspecification, so I only put in variables that could impact the relationship between score and era. I tried it two ways. First, I used era as a continuous variable, then I tried each era as a dummy variable. In both cases, we found the suspected relationship, that later era unique units are worse. Modern era is by far the worst. A unique unit from the modern era has, on average, a tier list placement of almost one full tier below a unique unit from the other eras. Ancient era unique units do the best, although classical era unique units actually do second worst. This effect gets stronger when we control for game, and weaker when we control for unit class. This backs up my hypothesis where late game units being crap is caused by shitty air and naval units. Either way though, the results fail to meet the 95% confidence threshold to rule out the null hypothesis. Do you know where we do have statistically significant results? Horse. A horse-related unit is placed, on average, half a tier above a unit that is sad because he has no horses. So those are the correlations. What are the final results? With this model, we can put together the hypothetical best and worst unique unit from the Civilization franchise. Let's see what they are. The archetypical best unit in the franchise has a horse, is Asian, costs less, is an other type unit or a land unit, and comes in the first era of the game, or maybe the medieval era. So that means the Ansar warrior from Civ 3, or the Keshik from Civ 3. Maybe this means we should have added a bonus movement variable. The model cannot tell these units apart, but even if you've never played Civ 3 before, I bet you can guess which of these is better. Yeah, exactly. It's obviously the Keshik. He's got like a cute little hood. So how about the archetypical worst unit in the game? Well, it would be European or Oceanian. It costs the same as the unit it replaces. It is an air unit, or a sea unit, and it comes in the final era of the game, or maybe the classical era. So that would mean the Draman from Civ 5 or 6? That or the Zero from Civ 5. Japan is pretty much in Europe, right? I mean, that's what Fullmetal Alchemist taught me. And when has anime ever lied to us? I would love to speculate as to why I think these correlations exist, why unique units with horses are better, but I think that should be the subject of its own video. For now, I'll say that's all for today. If you are a fan of unique units, or if you just want to see me debase myself, know that when I hit 100k subscribers, I have sworn to do a cosplay of the Galax Swordsman from Civ 3. Take care, everybody. See you next time.